Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you a wrap-up of things that I've been working on since I last did a wrap-up, which is a long time ago. I've read 22 books since then, so I have a couple of books to wrap up for you. I will do it in more than one video because I don't want to do 22 books in one. But before we get into the wrap-up, I wanted to do some stats about the books that I was reading. Not a whole lot, but I read 14 of them were audiobooks, 5 of them were ebooks, and then I had 3 books that were physical novels. And in terms of the genre, 14 of them were romances, 4 of them were fantasies, 2 of them were mysteries, and then I had 1 that was a sci-fi. So yeah, what happens when I get into slumpy time, it is that I go to the sort of easy to read books, which is romances for me. So that was what I was getting through, especially on ebook and audiobooks as well with the past couple of time. But there were some fantasies in there, and so yeah, it's not too bad. Anyway, let's get into the books. It's gonna be difficult for me to remember all of them, all of the things that happened in them, but the beginning of these books, I read them all the way back in June, so bear with me if I seem a little bit confused. So the first one is Celebrity in Death, the first one that I finished, and that book was interesting. It was following, there's gonna be a movie type thing made of Eve Dallas and her group of people, sort of a Hollywood production, and there's a lot of things, shenanigans going on, and they are at this sort of party thing that they're doing, where they are meeting the actors who plays them, and they are there to sort of see how they handle everything, I think. And then someone dies on set, so one of the characters dies, and then they have to sort of figure out what happened and why and who behind it and everything. So yeah, it was really interesting. I always enjoy these books, so I gave it 5 stars at the time. So I don't remember a whole, like, I can't pinpoint many more details right now, because I can sort of confuse what happened in them with some of the others, but this is the main plot of this one. The next thing that I finished was They Do It With Mirrors by Agatha Christie. This is the next book in the Miss Marple series. This one follows someone is being shot at this juvenile reform center thing, and Miss Marple is there. She has that bad sort of feeling about some of the things going on, a bad feeling about things, and then as she's there, someone shoots the administrator there, and then we have to figure out why and who and all of that, obviously. And things goes from there. I still like these, but I'm not super into them, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And the next one I read was The Barbarian's Prize, and again, this one follows, she's a woman. She is very, very popular on the island, and she doesn't want anything to do with it because she's scared of people knowing about her secret about herself. So she didn't want to disappoint any of them, so she didn't want to get involved with any of them. And then all of these books, they actually have something that I really like in them, all of them. So sometimes I really enjoy my time with it. But then there are so many times where I'm like, okay, I wanted more from this, and this is a little bit ridiculous, and not enough plot in terms of this. And they're already very short. Yeah, but yeah, so I ended up giving this one 3 stars as well. The next one I read was Voyage of the Damned by Frances White, I think that was the author's name. This one is one I have really, really hard time remembering the things that are happening on it. I know it's set on a ship, and I know it follows a man who falls in love with a boy who falls in love with another boy, and there's some secrets going on the ship. Yeah, I think that he hides his own identity because he's supposed to be something, but he's not. but no one knows about that. So he's keeping that to himself. I think that's a lot of the plot is about that. So yeah, I also gave this one 3 stars. Again, it's not very memorable to me, and I wanted more from it, and I think I expected a lot more because I'd actually recently seen some really good reviews of it. So I was a little bit disappointed, but still it wasn't bad or anything. The next one I read was A Barbarian's Prize, which I honestly don't remember much of. I think it's something to do with her not being able to... She wanted to mate with someone, but couldn't. Because she doesn't really have... No, is that the other one? I'm not sure about... I actually don't remember what this one is about. I tried looking up the sort of... honestly, I cannot remember any of this. And even when I read the synopsis, I can't remember any of this. So maybe I should reread it. I haven't read any of the next books in the series since then, so... It's just really far away in my head right now, so I'm sorry. Let's continue. The next one is Delusion. Oh, Delusion in Death. Oh yeah, I remember this one now. I just had to read the first sort of paragraphs. Delusion in Death, it follows... We start by seeing things from a bar or something like that. It's after hours, just after work, people are there, and they are sort of sitting, talking, generally having a good conversation, when suddenly, after everyone starts bickering and angry, and they sort of attack each other, all of them in the bar, and it turns out that all of them actually ends up dying. All of them inside that bar, because they go completely crazed out and kills each other in the process because they're so mad and angry. And so someone has drugged their I think it was some wine or something. I can't remember the exact thing that was drugged, but it was drugged with something that made them actually coming into these phases. And so Even has to obviously try and figure out what happened with that. When things starts happening on other public places like this, like a popular lunch spot in town for people, and then what does that have in common with? Are there any sort of things in common between the different attacks and stuff, so that they can actually figure it out? I really enjoyed this one as well. I really loved it. Lots of things happening in this one, in both the mystery plot but also the romantic plot, and I gave it up to 5 stars. Again, I really just love this series so much, so always happy when I have to pick one of these books up. The next book that I read was A Duke of Her Own by Eloisa James. This is the 5th or 6th book in the Desperate Duchesses series, and in this one you're following one of the characters we've seen from in the previous book, called Duke of Villiers. I don't remember how to pronounce it precisely. I kind of do, but I don't know how to pronounce it. You know, I've heard it a million times, but when I say it out loud, it doesn't sound like that. So, but Duke of Villiers or something like that, and he is out to try and find a suitable woman to marry, and he has his eyes set on someone, and they get betrothed without any further ado. And then we're also following another woman called Lisette. She's all engaged to another man. Doesn't really care about it or anything, just do it because she has to, more or less. And then things happen, they meet and they become friends and find out that they're in love with each other, and then things happen from there. I don't remember super much of the details in this one, but I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. So it was fine, did nothing wrong, but it was definitely also not my favorite. So the next thing that I finished was Thick as Thieves by Megan Whalen Turner, the 5th book in the Queen's Thief series. It's difficult to talk about the goings on in the series because it's like so far into the series, and we're following a main plot line all the way through. It's not like the romance books where you follow different couples and like more or less complete after the story. But this one, it is set further into the story, obviously we're following some other characters than Eugenides in this one, which is a little bit sad. I prefer when we see things from his perspective mainly, because he's such an interesting character, but I still enjoyed this one a lot. I've given this 4 stars, so it definitely is enjoyable, and I highly recommend you listening to the audios because they're so well narrated. So I definitely want to recommend the audios for that. The next thing that I finished was Forest Mage by Robb and Hobb. This is the second book in the Soldier Sun cycle. This is what I read for my most recent vlog. It was called the sort of series, I think I called it Finish What You Started. So it's my serious vlog style project where I dive into my different series that I have started and not completed, where I have the next books either in physical form or on my ebook. Because I often seem to forget them. It's different because I have I'm working on audios in different of my different series, but this one is the first one in that. Anyway, this is the second book in the Soldier Sun cycle, and when I first started reading it, I was like, this is as if I was reading the reverse of Thinner by Stephen King, sort of. In Thinner by Stephen King, you follow a man who becomes sort of who is being cursed, and when he is cursed, he starts losing obscene amount of weight, like from one day to another, and can't gain weight or anything. He just keeps losing weight no matter what he does, what he eats and stuff. And this is the opposite, so he starts gaining enormous amount of weight, and it becomes completely obese and can't really do a lot of things. He's very obviously struggling with his weight and stuff, and people around him are starting to treating him horribly because of his overweight problem. And people don't believe that it's because of a curse. Obviously they think that he's just started being completely eating way more than he should, and all of the wrong things and all of that, you know, the most general reasons why people would gain a lot of weight, you know. And especially his father is really horrible to him, and in that way it's really sad in parts to read this, because he's very much on his own with a lot of the problems that he's trying to get through, and he has to sort of try and find this woman who cursed him and make her take the curse back. But it's really difficult for him since he has a difficult time getting around, and he gets locked in a lot of times. He's actually at one point, his father locks him in to a sort of prison cell so that he can manage how much he gets to eat, but he still keeps on getting weight, obviously, because it's a curse. And his father is sort of becoming insane with some sort of disease at the same time. So a lot of things are happening, though it's not my favorite Robb and Hobb book. I still prefer all of her Elderling books, like the Elderling universe, over this series, but I still have a good time with it because it's very well written. The characters also some you can like and stuff, especially our main character and a couple of the others, but I still feel like the main cast, main characters from the Elderling universe are some that I've gotten a bigger attachment to than this, but I still enjoyed my time with it and gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's very well written, as I said, and I really recommend it. But I would definitely suggest you read all of the Elderlings books before you dive into this, so you know sort of Robb and Hobb's style and have a sort of idea about it, but then also maybe not having as high as expectations as the Elderling books, and I think you'll have a good time with it. The next thing that I finished was the Growling Grimoire, which is the next book in the, I don't know if it's the last book actually, but it's the most recent published book in that 9 Lives Magic series that I've been reading. It's a cozy mystery with witches and magic spells and stuff, and yeah, lots of fun happening. Celine the cat gets into a lot of stuff, and there's one they actually had put away in a recent book that is sort of somehow gets out of prison, is out on the loose, and they're trying to find her again and get her back into captivity. Yeah, so that's the main plot of this specific book, and I still keep enjoying them. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars for that one. And I think my final book that I'll wrap up in this vlog will be the next one, which is Arrogant Devil by R.S. Gray. This is a contemporary romance book. We are following a woman who is fleeing her marriage. She has been in a horrible marriage for a long time and sort of been stuck in it, and she wants a divorce, but she knows that every time she sort of suggested something, he just belittles her and says that she has nothing. He will stop all of her, make sure she doesn't have a job because he's very controlling, and he doesn't have his own, so she doesn't have her own money and her own credit card, so he will sort of stop her credit card and stuff. But in the middle of the night, she decides to flee and escape from him, and she sort of leaves him a letter saying that she wants a divorce, and she leaves him without any more explanation than that. And she only takes her bag. She doesn't even have a suitcase with anything in it. She just has a bag with her passport and stuff like that. She calls her sister at the airport when she's already bought her ticket to Texas, her sister sort of estranged from her, and she has been living in Texas at this farm and working there. So she wants to sort of go there and see if she can get a job and just escape and be away from everything. But she is on her sort of holiday in Paris while their apartment is getting refurbished. They're sort of reconstructing that or whatever. And then she has to go. But she pleads her if she can help her because she's actually in a dire situation. She's left her husband and she's on her way, but her sister is very not understanding about it because they have a very weird look at the other. One of them, her sister, thinks that our main character has everything, so why would she want to leave? And she has the best life ever because she has all of the money and all of that. And the other way, but she's just never told anyone about it because everyone only sees the outside thing, even though she's actually sort of said something a couple of times and they just didn't want to listen to her. Anyway, but she ends up convincing her that she needs help and she's on the way there, so if she could stay somewhere. But then she strikes up the deal with her employer, which is he has a ranch on this place, and she asks he needs help when she's away because she's away on holiday, as well as there's the cleaning lady who has sort of stopped. So she gets the job as the cleaning lady, but he absolutely does everything to her so that she won't want to stay there. So she's sort of living in this very little shed that's not really good. There's no air conditioning. It's very hot and humid, and there's not really a good bed and no really ways for her to cook dinner and whatever. But she is determined to stay there because she is not on her way back. So she's fighting and everything. And then as time goes on, obviously they start to know each other, and they actually become infatuated and in love with each other, obviously, as the time goes. I enjoyed my time so much with this one. I love R.S. Gray's writing, and this was just what I needed at the time to read. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorite R.S. Gray books, so really happy I picked that one up. And yeah, so I'm happy to end this sort of wrap up with a good note. And then next time I have about the same amount of books to talk about. So I think it's a good place to stop, and I will get into the remaining 11 books next time. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I've been talking about today. What were your thoughts on it if you did? Have you read any interesting books lately that you would like to talk to me about? Then definitely leave them in the comments down below, because I always like to know about new and interesting books. Maybe I want to read them myself. And sorry it's been so long again. Hopefully it won't take me so many months for me to post more videos. I hope to get into a more regular schedule again, so sorry about that. Anyway, this is everything I had for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Goodbye.